Hey guys, welcome to another podcast of Holistically Thriving, a podcast where we talk about all the different areas of your life that you can work on in order to be thriving as a whole, holistically, both as a whole being, but also as natural ways of healing. So today I'm just going to do a quickie for you because something happened today that I wanted to share. So we're talking today about signs from the universe or from whatever higher power you believe in. And do you have a sign from the higher power that you know when you're on the right track? I know some people have very specific signs where they'll know that if they see a certain thing that it means a certain thing. And I also have people who just say, I know that when I see a butterfly, it's my grandfather. I have a very specific thing where I know that when I see 331 or a variation of 331, that it is a sign that, hey, you're doing good. Keep going. It's like a little nod from the universe being like, yeah, good job. We're proud of you. Good job. And it just gives me so much feeling of being aligned, feeling like I'm not alone, feeling like I have people, spirit guides, angels, whatever you want to call them, looking out for me, pushing me in the right direction. And that just feels good, right? It feels good to feel like you're not alone, to feel like there are people who are not on this planet, souls, beings, angels, higher power, God, whatever you want to say, that are part of your team, right? When I feel like I need a little boost and I feel very not safe or grounded, I will picture myself standing in the middle of a circle of beings. I call them my team. And that will immediately calm me down. I feel like I'm surrounded by those beings and I am protected, or feeling or imagining like as if I'm a wolf in the front of the pack. So I'll imagine myself and then imagine like a pack of spirit guides behind me so that I feel like, okay, I'm protected. I am grounded. I am safe. I am loved. I am protected. And so today I went to get my Reiki 2 attunement. So for those of you who don't know, when you are learning Reiki, which is a form of energy healing, if you don't know about Reiki yet, you get a Reiki 1. You have a Reiki 1 and a Reiki 2 certification class. And then you get attuned after about like a month after your class to just be reattuned to the Reiki energy. And I will tell you that I have felt a big shift after my Reiki 1 attunement, and then an even bigger shift when I took my Reiki 2 course. And then today I had my Reiki 2 attunement. Then you become a Reiki master if you continue on your path of becoming a Reiki master. And that, with the person that I study with, is a 12-week course. And that's not starting until the summertime. But I wanted to share that for a very long time, for a very long part of my life, I felt like I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. I feel like I have so many different talents and gifts, and it's really hard for me because when I see myself, it's not just like, oh, I like accounting, or, oh, I like this. It's like, I have 20,000 different things that I can do and I love them all. So which path do I take? And for a really long time, that was very difficult for me because I felt so scatterbrained. And I have a master's degree in music performance, in oboe music performance. I don't really play the oboe very much anymore. I do teach private lessons. I do work with a theater company, but my main purpose in life is not just to play the oboe. It is something that makes me happy. It brings me a lot of joy, makes me feel good. I love performing for people. I love being part of an orchestra. Those are all amazing things. However, like, middle of college, I started to panic and be like, oh my God, I don't want to do this forever. I want to do this more for fun, not for a profession. Because right, when you start doing a profession, it takes a little bit of the joy away from it when you're relying on it to make money and support yourself. And so, I had a little bit of a meltdown in college about it. And then I left college, and then I did all these random different things. I started a YouTube channel. I had 500,000 subscribers for a YouTube channel that was all about healthy eating and nutrition, and that's awesome. Like, I love talking about healthy eating and nutrition. However, that's not just like the only thing that I like. I also love birth, and I can talk to you all day about birth, natural birth. I I've learned so much about healing and supplements and herbs and different forms of natural healing and relationships. I've worked on so many of my own relationships and spirituality. And there's just so many things, which is why eventually I was like, hey, I really need to start a podcast where I can talk about all these different things that I know so much about. And I know people who are experts in their field about specific areas of these things. And so, sorry, I just got distracted because that text message came through and it threw me off. But anyway, okay, we're back. So, stop messaging me. Let me put my phone on silent for a second here. So basically, when I started to feel connected to my higher self, it was actually when I spoke to a psychic for the first time back, like not long after college. And she told me that I have an angel she told me her name. And I was like, oh my God, wait, what? Like, there's someone who is watching out for me all the time. And I had never felt like that before. I had never felt this very strong connection to a higher being. And so when that happened, my whole world shifted. I was like, oh my God, I'm not alone. It really just, I can't explain how much it shifted. It shifted the concept of feeling like I am just a random person on planet Earth into more of like, I am an infinite being and I have a team of angels behind me. And so that kicked off my spirituality right there. But the idea of not feeling alone is so important. So if you're listening to this and you're like, wait, what? Like I was, guess what? You have a team of angels and spirit guides all around you. And if you're not sure about them or who they are, what their names are, or anything like that, don't put any pressure on it, but just put on some meditation music and sit down with a journal and see what happens. There's this awesome book. I know the author, Alyssa Romeo. Her book is called, what is it? Talk to Your Soul or something like that. Talk to Your Soul. I think that's what it is. And she talks about journaling and being able to speak to your soul or your higher power, whatever you want to call it. And so she gives you all these examples of how to journal about it. Oh, I should message her and ask her to be on my podcast. She will share with you how to connect with that part of yourself and to receive answers and feel like you're not alone. And so you can sit down and you can read her book, but you can also sit down and journal and write down like, hi, I'm ready. What is your name? Or like, anything. You can ask them anything and you can kick it off really easy. You can say things like, what is my name? And whatever you hear, write it down. Obviously you're going to hear your own name, but it'll just start getting like the conversation flowing. So you could be like, hi, what is your name? And you'll hear Stephanie. I mean, my name. What is your name? What is my name? Stephanie. And then you can be like, what time is it? Oh, it's 3:48. Okay. Where do I live? And just start the conversation of writing a question down and writing the answer down, and then start to ask questions that you don't know the answers to. And whatever comes to your mind, write it down. Even if it sounds ridiculous. When I first started doing things like this, I would just get numbers and letters and I would draw little pictures and I would, like it would just, you look at those journals now and you're just like, well, this doesn't even make any sense. I would get symbols. But then after a lot of practice, I've now been doing this for 6 years, maybe. I now have journals full of downloads. Like some people call them downloads, right? You're receiving information from your higher power. They're downloads. And it's like, I can write out full stories of, like sometimes they're talking to me so quickly that I can't even write it down fast enough, where my handwriting is different because I can't write fast enough. Or sometimes my handwriting is different because it's not really me, which is actually really interesting. And Alyssa talks about that in her book, where sometimes your handwriting is different because you're channeling a higher being. It's not even you writing it. I am not a poet, guys, not at all. And sometimes I will write this beautiful poetry and I'm just like, where did this come from? Because it's not me. or I also know that I'm connected and I'm intuitive and getting information from somebody else when I write things down that I would never say. Like, I do not refer to myself as like hello, dear, or like things like that. Or I will be writing and I will be referring to myself as you instead of me. I'll write down, like you are blah, 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 instead of I am blah, blah, blah. So that's how else I know when I'm like tapped in, turned on, I am receiving messages and it's not from me. And so going back to why I was starting off this podcast, telling you about the 331 thing, it came very early on that I could just tell, like I would start to see it everywhere. It became a thing where I just saw 331 everywhere. And then it kind of turned into more of like a variation of 331. And when I tell you that I see it every day, it is unbelievable. Like when I first started living with my roommate, I would send him pictures of it every day and be like, look, here it is again. Here it is again. Look at this, look at this, look at this. It was nuts. Even he was like, oh my God, how is this even happening? And so, so for example, today I did my Reiki 2 attunement and I walked out of there feeling really good. And I know I am very strong in who I am right now. And I know that I am supposed to help people on this earth through frequencies and Reiki healing. And while I love music and that's all beautiful, and sure, music healing is very important as well, I know that out of all the things I really love doing, the number one thing I feel like I am here to do is to help people through those modalities of healing. So through frequency therapy and through Reiki. And so when I got in my car, I laughed out loud because I turned on my car, and granted, I drove there, right? So I didn't even notice that my mileage was close to this number until I turned my car on and saw that my mileage was 11,331, 11331. And then it gets better. So I laugh out loud and I'm just like, okay, you guys are funny. And then I turn on my Waze to drive home and I noticed that I'm going to be home at 131. And then I realized, oh, look at that. The time right now is 113. So it was 1:13 in the afternoon and I was going to get home at 1:31. And then I'm driving out of the parking lot. And for the first time ever, I've been there dozens of times. For the first time ever, I realized that the number of the building is 731. Whew. So I feel like all those things were just like the universe saying, hey, pay attention. Yes, you are on the right track. Good job. Reiki is what you are supposed to be doing. And I noticed this whenever I'm in the flow of life, whenever things are going a specific way, it's like, hey, good job, keep going. Or even on the other hand, things can be like, oh my God, life sucks right now. And I'll get those messages too. It'll be like, hey, it's okay. You're going to be okay. Keep going. And so it's really important for you to establish with your spirit guides or higher power, whatever you want to call it. What is your sign? Is it the color blue? Is it a specific number? Is it a name? Is it whatever it is? Is it a symbol? Is it a type of animal? Is it whatever it is? Is it something in nature? Whatever it is, whatever you hear in your head, whatever you start to see, or like, so you can sit down and ask, hey, what is the thing that I'm supposed to be looking for? And if you don't get an answer right away, just pay attention, because maybe the next 2 days, you'll start to notice, wow, I just saw 10 monarch butterflies in the last 48 hours. Wow, that's a little weird, So, wow, that's funny. Actually, I just remembered, because I just said monarch butterfly, that once, when I was living in my old house and things were not going well with my now ex-husband, I had drawn a monarch butterfly in my book for no reason. It says, or maybe what did I write? I wrote something like, like that a caterpillar turns into a butterfly and you're going to be a butterfly or something like that. And this had never happened before. And I went to bed that night, woke up the next morning, opened my front door to take my dog out, and there was a monarch butterfly sitting at my welcome mat. And I was like, wow, that was a very fast manifestation of, a sign being like, hey, you're good. Don't worry. You're going to be a butterfly really soon. And so it just really starts to connect you so that you don't feel so alone, and you feel more like that you're not alone. There are beings who are trying to help you, push you in a specific direction, not in like a forcing way, but more of like a, hey, this feels good. Come over here. The water's warm, and it just feels really good to feel connected. And, yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that, but it is honestly the craziest thing. I still laugh when like I said, when I got in the car and I saw the mileage, I was just like, oh my God, like that's so, I can't even believe that. You cannot make this stuff up. The amount of times that I saw 331. Oh, by the way, my apartment number is 3301. So it was funny because when we first started looking at apartments in this building, they showed us the first floor, which would have been 3101. And I didn't think anything of it. And I was like, oh, are there any other apartments available? And he was like, yeah, the one on the top floor. And as soon as we got out of the elevator and I saw that it was 3301, I was like, you have got to be kidding me. And that was my sign of like, hey, this is going to be good for you. Move into this apartment. And then, I live in also like multiples of 3. My old house the number was 9. This apartment complex, the number is 9. When we were deciding to move into this apartment and also deciding to move in with each other, I saw 331 everywhere. And it was like, the universe was like, yes, this is a good decision, because I was contemplating it for so long. And then I would panic and be like, oh my God, maybe I'm making the wrong decision. And it was like, the universe could not have possibly given me any more signs that I need to get out of my own way and just sign the lease. And I can tell you, I've been here for 7 months and it was a really good decision that I moved here. So always look for signs. If you don't have a sign yet, figure out what it is. And also don't be harsh on yourself. If you feel like you are asking for a sign, but it's not coming to you right away, that's okay. Just step back and have patience with the process. Do what I was just sharing with you about, putting on meditation music, taking some quiet time for yourself, opening up a journal, and just sit there and doodle and see what comes out of your pen. And if you don't get all of your answers right away, just remember, like I said, like for me, I didn't get full blown answers until, I don't know, it was probably like months after journaling, once every 1 or 2 weeks. It's not necessarily a fast process. You might sit down and they might be bursting to tell you things. So maybe you'll know right away. Maybe you'll hear their name right away and be like, oh, cool. Got it. Awesome. And like, hey, your sign is 331. Be like, awesome. Thanks. But also don't feel afraid that your sign might shift. If you decide, it's a 331, but now all of a sudden you're seeing variations of 113 and 313 and 11 or 131 and whatever it is. I now know like basically any variation. I used to only see 331s, but now I see any variation of 1s and 3s. And I'm just like, oh my God, it's crazy. I don't stare at people's license plates, but I swear to you, every time I drive, I will just randomly look at a license plate and it'll say 331 on it. Every time I laugh, I'm like, oh, hey guys, what's going on? Got the message. Thanks. So it's just that always little bit of a nudge of like, hey, you're not alone. And that feels really good to be so connected. So that's my message for you today. Figure out what your sign is from your higher power and don't put any pressure on it. Let it come as it comes and just start working on that. And it will start to really change your life. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this quick little podcast today of Holistically Thriving. If you enjoyed this message, if you enjoyed this message, please share it with a friend. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Bye, guys.